Hi there, this is Randy, your sewing machine man. What we're going to do now is get you started. I got a inquiry on the channel about taking all it for granted that you know how to do all this stuff, when basically if you're a newbie, just jumping in the middle is not as good as starting at the beginning. So let's start at the beginning. The first thing you have to do is get the proper thread, and that would be a thread that says dual duty all-purpose. You want to not have a heavy oversized thread. It can be smaller than this in diameter. It's the diameter of the thread. The thread diameter of this thread is 5/100ths of an inch, and it has to be that or less. It can't be more, because if it gets to be more, then you have a thread gap problem. So always start out with a dual duty. It could be plus all-purpose, but then you know you have the right thread. Put the thread on, doesn't matter which way it's turning. To wind the bobbin to get started, the first thing you do is you go around your bobbin winder guide. One lap around there, back to front, front to back, doesn't matter, but make sure it goes all the way around. It goes underneath tight here. And then put your bobbin on your bobbin winder. Disengage your hand wheel, your clutch over on the right hand side. Turn the little knob towards you. Hold the big knob still, and then turn the small knob towards you over here and disengage that. Now here's what's important when you wind the bobbin. I always spin the end of the thread like that, so it's a straight little deal. And I put it up through the hole on the bobbin. There's going to be a hole somewhere. So I put it up through the hole and hang on to it. And when the bobbin starts winding, it'll cut it free here, because you don't want any thread sticking out on the outside of the bobbin. It all has to be contained inside the wall. So engage your bobbin winder. Hold that thread taut. And let it wind, and it'll cut it clean. And you can discard that. It's always a good idea to maybe hold on to this so your spool doesn't get launched into space, and run at a pretty good speed. And you can wind it halfway, all the way, however much you want to put on there. This machine is designed that when it gets full, it'll actually kick off automatically. That's what this little stop is for right here. Holds the bobbin in place, and when it gets full, it'll actually cut off. And you notice that it's going up and down and winding evenly. You want the bobbin to be straight up and down, or it can be high in the middle. There goes my spool getting ready to launch there. You gotta be careful with that. And you want the bobbin to be either equal straight up and down, or it can have a little bump in the center. But when it gets full, trust me, it will shut off by itself here. We're getting awful close to full. There it goes, shut off. All right. And then you get your scissors and you snip this. Now you're going to load the bobbin. As the bobbin case is facing you, you're going to get the bobbin turning clockwise. And you're going to slide it up in the little slot. Right there's your little slot. You're going to slide in the slot, bring it up and under, and it'll pop out right in the center of this little opening right here. It's going to pop out right there. And when you pull on your thread, that bobbin's going to rotate clockwise as the opening faces you. And then you go put it in the machine, you hold your latch, and as long as you have a hold of the latch, the bobbin won't fall out. It has a little grabber on the side that hangs onto it. So I'm going to move this back and move this down. We're going to load the bobbin, because the bobbin goes in with that little finger that's sticking up. That's going to be right, pushing straight up. It's going to be a little notch there. It's going to fit right in. It's going to go right in a little notch. Sometimes it'll snap, sometimes it'll go in, but you'll feel that and make sure it's flush all the way across. Make sure it's pushed all the way in. Now, you're going to want to thread the machine properly, and in order to do that, you're going to not go around your guide. Sometimes people go around here. That's wrong. That's only when you wind the bobbin. You're going to come in behind there and click it in this little guide. The presser foot will always be up. That's always step one. I should have told you that. Step one is always raise the presser foot. What that does is it opens and closes these discs right here. These discs open and close to accept the thread. There's a little bitty guide over here on the right hand side. And with the presser foot up, you bring it in from the right hand side in front of that guide and slide it between those shiny discs. I hold this up here to make sure that it picks up this check spring on the left and clicks in behind. Listen for that. Click. Every time you take a stitch, that little spring's going to bounce. And at this point, that's where you lower the pressure foot and pull on the thread, making sure your tension's on 4. And you'll feel the resistance. You'll know you have it seated in between the disc and it's installed properly. You can get in front of those discs or behind those discs and it'll make a messy stitch. So between the disc, you'll feel resistance like somebody has a hold of it. From then on, you go to this thread guide here, right to left through the take-up lever as such. Thread guide, one here and one here. There's going to be a thread guide right above the needle, right there. There's one on the right, one on the left. Either one works. You have 2 because you can sew with a double needle. We're not going to cover double needle. That's a whole different subject. And then you thread let's get the needle in right. The needle has to be put in properly. The needle has a flat side. Flat side, you can see it reflecting there. Nice little flat side. That goes to the rear. It's going to be a long groove of the needle facing the front. So the long groove goes to the back. See if I can do this in an efficient amount of time. Put it up all the way up to the stop point. Make sure it stops at the stop point. And then tighten the needle clamp screw down by hand. Most people over tighten it. They use a screwdriver and you can strip that out. Take the needle to its highest point with your presser foot down, and that gives you room to get your fingers in there to thread it. And it's easier to thread when you're by yourself. The more people are watching, the harder it gets. I found that to be true in my own experience. But anyhow, turn the hand wheel towards you after you've tightened down the lock screw in the center there, your release knob. Tighten that down by turning it away from you a quarter turn by holding the wheel still. Turn that knob away from you. Tighten the knob down tightly. Then turn your hand wheel towards you. You always turn the hand wheel towards you, never away from you. It'll jam the machine. You turn it towards you, holding the thread to the rear, and it picks up the bottom thread. Now you have 2 threads. Now what you do is you close your little door, put your fabric underneath. I'm going to put it on straight stitch. It was on zigzag. I'll put it on 10 stitches per inch. Then I'll step on the gas pedal, and away we go. We're making stitches. Reverse lever, back stitch. If that tension's on 4, the bottom's going to look pretty nice. Not a bad looking stitch for just grabbing it out. I just grabbed this out and stitched it out. Nice little machine. 158. This is 158, 196, I believe. Got some nice features. Nice little Kenmore front load machine. Made in Japan. Premium stuff. I'm getting this ready to sell. It's going to sell for $2.99. It's got a carrying case. And it's a nice little machine. But that's how you get started. And that was by request. A young lady said she was a newbie. And she kind of said, well, you know, all this stuff you're telling me is great, but what if I'm getting started? Okay, this is getting started. Winding the bobbin, making sure your needle's in right, tension on 4, get it threaded properly, use the right thread. Appreciate it.